I used to coach players, and I'm currently going through a series where I try popular content creator sensitivities. Most recently, I tried Skittlecake's insanely high sensitivity where you can make a full turn in 10 centimeters. If the comments on these videos and most players that I've coached are any indication, the average player plays on way too high of a sensitivity, and this has to change. The reason for this video is that too high of a sense will cause inconsistency, jittery aim, and overall poor accuracy. If you play on too high of a sensitivity for too long, you may actually cause irreversible wrist damage. Most players who play on a high sensitivity do so despite poor performance and not really understanding how much better they can do, just with some slight changes. High sensitivity is associated with wrist aim, where you rest your whole arm and only flick around your wrist. Lower sensitivities require you to use either just your arm to aim, or in most cases, your whole arm. Playing with higher sensitivity is more common in games like Apex, as you need to turn around a lot, while slow-paced tactical shooters like Counter-Strike or Valorant, you want pixel-perfect shots and you're usually already looking in the direction that you want to shoot. To clarify, a sensitivity makes for a combination of both your DPI settings in your mouse and your in-game sensitivity. You can have a low sensitivity in-game but still zoom across the screen. That's why this is normally calculated in the unit cm per 360, which is a combination of both your DPI and in-game sensitivity to portray how large of a movement you need to do in real life in order to make a full 360-degree turn. A low sensitivity would be in the 50 centimeter per 360 mark, and many casual players that I've spoken to have been in the 5 to 10 centimeter mark. Odds are that you probably didn't give your sensitivity any thought. Not to worry, many people are in that position. But if I haven't convinced you to change just yet, playing on a high sensitivity is actually dangerous. Playing on a high sensitivity and using wrist aim puts you at the risk of developing serious wrist injuries, such as carpal tunnel or repetitive strain injuries. So if you are in the majority of players who haven't thought much about your sensitivity, now is a great wake-up call to make that switch. Actually, almost every player who has taken my advice and changed up their sensitivity instantly has seen results. And by the next week, they've all come back to me to happily share them. But some players sadly have developed lasting wrist pains from their sensitivity, or might notice some discomfort when making the switch. But more on that later. To figure out where to start, any sensitivity you choose should allow you to turn around 180 to 360 degrees in one swipe across the mousepad. Most casual players already failed this test, and we could just leave this here. But let's take it another step and fine-tune your sensitivity just a little bit. To fine-tune your sensitivity from this point, go into something like the firing range and start flicking at targets. If you overshoot, your sensitivity is too high, and if you undershoot, your sensitivity is too low. Another tell that your sensitivity still might be too high is if you try to track a moving targets but you can't do so smoothly, and instead your aim shakes or jitters. I have actually released a whole video on how to fine-tune your sensitivity, and I've linked that in the description. If you are struggling to use your arm instead of your wrist to aim, try going for a significantly slower sensitivity just so you can force your body to use your entire arm for aiming, because if you try turning around with your wrist on a low sensitivity, you just won't get anywhere. Long-time wrist aimers take a bit longer to get accustomed to arm aim, but they always come out happier. Do you feel that using your arm to aim is too tiring, or do you have any pains or discomfort from using a mouse on a higher or low sensitivity? This is either caused from the strain of using a high sensitivity and wrist aim, or from just not being accustomed to using all the muscles in your arm. Most of these symptoms are actually treatable at home. The answer? Stretches and exercise. If you purposely play on a high sensitivity and want to stick to it, you want to regularly stretch and ideally work out your wrist several times a week. If you have a severely high sensitivity like Skittlecake's at 10 centimeters per 360, I'd probably stretch in between every other game. I'll always advocate for regular exercise, and in fact, strengthening your wrists and forearms will lead to great improvement with arm aim. So no matter what type of aim you have or what level you play at, you will benefit from this. I've been hitting the gym myself for a few months now, and I've noticed that my wrists are weak. Thanks to that, I've acquired some golden knowledge that I will now bestow onto you. Some wrist pains and discomfort, usually around the joints, can be solved by simply stretching or rest. Some other wrist pains travel further up in the arm, impacting the muscles, and thus need exercises such as light dumbbells, or even using gym machines just to strengthen them. Fun tidbit, the worst pains that I've had in my wrist have all been solved just by lifting a weight. Despite what type of pain you have, stretching and exercising your wrists and arms will immediately give you relief and give you a little bit more endurance day by day. So let's get over what I'm currently doing. Once again, I am not a doctor, I don't have a degree, I play video games and I make video game videos. And if you suspect you might have long-lasting damage or pain, you should start off by seeing a medical professional for proper diagnosis and treatment. That being said, let me share what those people told me. Let's start with the easiest. Next, stretches. Ideally, you want to stretch before or after a gaming session as to prevent any injury. In more severe cases, or if you're feeling really strained out but have to keep playing, you might want to keep stretching throughout a gaming session. These few stretches help me a lot when I feel that I've overworked my wrists and forearms. Ideally, you'd want to do this entire routine, but doing one thing is better than nothing, and in time you'll get used to what type of stretch is needed to alleviate your specific strain. Doing these stretches will take some time, but I promise you, it will be worth it. I suggest putting on your favorite show or favorite YouTuber in the background while you do this to keep yourself entertained. By the way, make sure you hit that subscribe button if you enjoyed the video. Let's start off with the prayer position stretches. While standing, place your palms together in a praying position. Have your elbows touch each other. Your hands should be in front of your face. Your arms should be touching each other from the tips of your fingers all the way down to your elbows. With your palms pressed together, slowly spread your elbows apart. Do this while lowering your hands to waist height. Stop when your hands are in front of your belly button or you feel the stretch. Hold this stretch for 10 to 30 seconds, then repeat. Then, extend one arm in front of you at shoulder height. Keep your palm down, facing the floor. Release your wrist so that your fingers point downward. With your free hand, gently grasp your fingers and pull them back towards your body. Hold for 10 to 30 seconds. Once that's done, extend your arm again with your palm facing down. Raise the hand to sort of make a stop sign. With your free hand, gently press your fingers back towards you. Hold for 10 to 30 seconds. Make sure to repeat both of these stretches with the other arm. You should cycle through the stretches 2 or 3 times per arm. This next stretch specifically hits around where your elbow connects, and it's great if you're suffering from tennis elbow. Stand up next to a desk or a table around hip height. Place your hand with your fingers pointing backwards and press down and lean on the arm backwards until you feel a stretch. Hold this for about 10 to 30 seconds. This can also be done by sitting on your knees on the floor, and then you can hit both arms at the same time. There are plenty of ways of stretching out your fingers, and I'm not gonna bog you with it, but I will always recommend the Vulcan stretch. Does it have a name? Anyways, bring your pinky and ring fingers together, separate the middle and the index fingers from the ring finger, sort of like the Vulcan salute. Couldn't help myself. Repeat this around 10 times. Another great one is done by making a fist and holding it out in front of you. Slowly extend your fingers in a stretch until your hand is flat and open with all of the fingers together. Repeat this 10 times. Then, take a stress ball, tennis ball, or crumpled up sock and press it as hard as you can. Hold for 10 seconds, release and relax, and then repeat this 9 more times. And finally, take a sock or a towel in both hands and twist it, sort of like if you were wringing water out of it. Don't shy away from stretching really far and repeat this for a total of 20 repetitions, 10 for each side. If your arms or wrists feel inflamed or stiff, just shake it out. Also shake it out at the end of these stretches. It feels really good to get all the tension out, but it does get a little bit tiring. Let's move on to the weighted exercises. There's plenty of these as well and way more for me to list, but these are on my regular rotation. All of these are done with very light dumbbells, and that's because we are targeting a specific part of the body that is not typically very strong, and by going too heavy, you will just injure yourself. I am currently rotating a 2 kilo and a 4 kilo dumbbell for these exercises, but it varies from person to person. I would recommend you start with 1 kilo. Moving on to the exercises. Grab a dumbbell and pull upwards as if you are operating a stick. Try to focus so there's tension around this area over the thumb. 10 repetitions. Next up, stand up straight with your hands to your sides, bend your wrist inwards while still holding the dumbbell 10 times. Once that's done, shake it all out and then do the inverse. Bring your wrist outwards while holding the dumbbell for 10 more repetitions. This other one is great for overall strength and mobility. Take your dumbbells and hold them to your sides. Lift them up all the way and at the peak of your movement, spin around and then lower them again. Repeat this 10 times. And finally, and this is a really good one, place your arm along a desk and let the hand sort of hang over the edge. Grab a dumbbell and hold it in a straight position. Slowly raise it and then let go to reset back to the starting position and repeat this 10 times. There are plenty more exercises that targets just the wrists and forearms, and I've actually added a specific day where I work out just my wrists in the gym rotation. If you guys are interested in seeing this, let me know in the comments. But these will do just to get your base strength up and make sure you're not lacking anything. Once again, there are plenty of these exercises, and ideally you'd want to couple it with a balanced workout or lifting regimen, but I use these exercises to treat the tennis elbow that I'm currently battling, and they're great. If you believe you have any permanent issues or are experiencing any symptoms, I really recommend to reach out to a licensed physician or doctor. I'm just sharing what I've learned and what works for me. And that was why your sensitivity sucks and why you need to change it for your gaming and for your health. If you enjoyed the video, make sure that you hit the like button and consider subscribing for more banger content. I'm open for any discussion on these topics, so I invite all comments so we can get all the right information out. Anyways, thank you again so much for watching. If you haven't already, make sure to check out the sensitivity guide on the screen now. Anyways, see you all tomorrow.